Call this meeting of the Zion City Council to order. Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Fisher?
Here.
Commissioner McKinney?
Here.
Commissioner Deteen?
Here.
Commissioner McDowell?
Here.
Mayor Hill?
Here. Commissioner?
I'm glad to be able to pray for us today, so let's bow. Father, I want to thank you for the many blessings that we receive every day. Thank you for life and health and protection that you give us. And Father, I just pray that you would give us wisdom tonight as we deliberate on city business and ask for your blessing in this meeting. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 4 is agenda changes. Do any of the commissioners have any agenda changes? I have one on the agenda, on the consent agenda, under 6A, delete and approval, but not release of closed session minutes of a meeting held on June 5th, 2018 at 7:45 as part of the consent agenda. Anything else? Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as changed?
So moved.
Excuse me, the agenda is changed. We have a motion
Second.
and a second. To discussion, clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Commissioner McKinney?
Aye.
Commissioner Deteen?
Aye.
Commissioner McDowell?
Aye.
Mayor Hill?
Aye. Item number 5 is citizens' comments. First is Mr. Bremner.
Mayor Hill, honorable sirs, gentle ladies, I stand in front of you this evening to call your attention to an incident. Several months ago in these chambers, you discussed and ultimately determined to allow electrical aggregation in the city of Zion with the option that any resident could opt out of aggregation and stay with his chosen electrical company. Several weeks after that, I received a letter from, I've put on my glasses so I can think, from Eligo Energy. The letter said that they would switch me over unless I specifically declined their service. And to decline their service, I would have to do it in writing. They did provide a form, which I signed. I did not want Eligo service. I wanted to stay with Commonwealth Edison. Yesterday in the mail, I received and I sent this in. I declined it. I did not want to switch over. Yesterday I received a letter from Commonwealth Edison that said I had been switched over to Eligo Energy LLC, despite what I wanted. I called Commonwealth Edison and got that change back, but I'm bringing this to your attention that even though we supposedly have the option of not switching over, they're doing it unilaterally, whether we want it or not. I do thank you for your time, your courtesy, and your attention to this matter. Permission to stand down, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Bremner. Can we follow up on that tomorrow? We'll follow up on that tomorrow, Mr. Bremner. Clerk Spooner will get a hold of him and find out what's going on. Next is Kay Vigart.
Hi, Honorable Mayor and Commissioners, I'm Kay Vigart. My husband and I have lived in Zion since 1969, December. We've lived in our neighborhood presently since 1973. We're in the northeast corner of Zion. And Joel and I were raised in Waukegan, and we were raised in a time where you show respect for your elders, you show respect for authority. And my heart has been aching over the way our law enforcement, our policemen, our paramedics are treated. And when I was visiting my son, our son in Southern Illinois, they have this banner in front yards in the community of Murfreesboro, which is a bedroom community, Carbondale. So I purchased a couple of them, and I thought, why not here? So I contacted at least 4 printers, 5 including Schwabel Printing in Murfreesboro, who printed these up. And I was able to get the best price in Antioch. I tried staying in Lake County. I'm able to get them at a cost of $4.05 a sign. Ace Hardware in town has agreed to hang on to them, to sell them for us, for the community. I spoke with the gentleman from the Chamber of Commerce, and he thought that there might be other establishments that might be willing to handle them. I would personally like to see one of these in every storefront in Zion. I would personally like to see these scattered throughout our community. And I personally have a blue light in my front yard because I want my community to know that I support my local law enforcement. And I went online today to check out what time the meeting was, and I really was impressed by Chief Dunham's statement. Zion police officers perform their duties with competence, courage, and compassion, treating all those we serve with respect. And they are expected to give you and I respect. Why not us return that to them? So this is me. I have 96 on order in Antioch right now. I'd just like to have the board's approval to do this and to let you know that I'm encouraging our community to back our law enforcement.
Ma'am, I just want to commend you for your efforts and this initiative. And you say they're going to be for sale at Ace Hardware?
Right now, Ace Hardware has committed where they are willing to distribute these for us. They will take a bit of a profit, not a profit, but a small pittance for handling it and for paying our taxes, collecting the taxes and paying the taxes to the state.
Great, thank you so much for
Okay, thank
thinking
you.
of it and doing it.
Next is Dr. Michelle Cox.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Dr. Michelle Cox, and in mid-May, I received a letter of warning from the City of Zion regarding non-compliance of Article 4, Section 9888 of the Code of Ordinance. The ordinance basically states that you are in non-compliance should any weeds, grass, or plants on your property grow to exceed a height of 8 inches. Believing that I received the letter in error, I actually measured my grass, and at its tallest location, it was not at a height that warranted a warning of violation. The next day, I phoned Mr. Ferry, the inspector, whose signature was on the letter, and unable to reach him, I left a voicemail. I then phoned and spoke with the department's director, Mr. Ianson, and unfortunately, he could not explain the process used by the city to determine if a citizen is in fact in compliance. Later that morning, Mr. Ferry returned my call. Upon challenging the warning letter and requesting it be removed from the files, the conversation became very unprofessional. If I had to coin a word to describe how I felt after the conversation, that word would be bullied. This was also not the first time that I had had a less than pleasurable encounter with Mr. Ferry, the first time being at a home inspection. While his behavior at the home inspection was not as abrasive, it was still very presumptuous. So much so that I asked the property owner to request that someone other than he return to do the follow-up inspection. Now, although taken aback by this repeated unprofessionalism, it did not compare to the disregard that I encountered after the fact. To me, what succeeded this incident was a clear indication of why a city employee is comfortable engaging citizens in a manner not befitting of a city representative. After my conversation with Mr. Ferry, I again phoned Mr. Ianson and left him a message detailing the conversation and a request for a meeting. I also called the city clerk's office to get the name of the commissioner that I might speak with. Ms. Spooner gave me Commissioner McKinney's name. I provided Ms. Spooner with a detailed account of what transpired. She stated that she had taken down all the information, that she would forward it to Commissioner McKinney, and that I should wait for a return phone call. On Tuesday, May 22nd, after not receiving a response, I called the city clerk's office and left another message. Still no response. Again, on May 28th, I called and was prompted to contact Mr. David Nabel because Ms. Spooner was on vacation. Unable to reach him, I left him a message on his voicemail. As of today, 32 days later, I have yet to receive a response. Let me say that again for you, Mayor. I have personally contacted 3 different city employees on 4 different occasions, and in 32 days, not one of them have returned my phone call. To me, this kind of disdain is a result of either a system that is void of checks and balances, a clear lack of accountability, or an apathetic staff. And with all due respect, Mr. Mayor, I will leave it to you to determine which one that is. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. Cox. I'll follow up on this.
I appreciate it.
Angela Ware?
Hello, my name is Angela Ware, and I'm here. I was at the event for the Nostalgia Day that just passed this weekend, and I had a few concerns that I was pretty upset about. I talked to Sonanita and also Mike as well, and basically I was unsatisfied because the way that I didn't make any money, first of all. I put out a lot of money. I paid for to be a vendor. And a week before, I've asked him a couple of questions. I emailed Mike, and I'm saying, you know, who do I need to talk to see where I'm going to be placed, and who do I need to contact? Because this is my first time coming to Nostalgia Day. I hear a lot about it. I've been in this Illinois for 30-something years. And now I'm a vendor, so I decided to become a vendor. And but when I got there, the day before that, Motor Amy Doom from BGV Motors, she ended up calling me instead of the Chambers of Commerce. Instead of them, letting me know anything, she ended up talking to me and saying that, we're working with the food vendors, and we kind of step in a little bit because we want to, promote the food vendors. And I said, well, I don't know where I need to be. I don't know who I need to contact when I get there. This is my first time going, so I'm not aware, what to do. Come in, I have a freezer full of food. I get there, and I'm like lost. And I run into her. She gets Mike to me, and then they come and they take me to my spot. My spot was right over there by Market Square between the Marathon and the hotel. From my knowledge that I found out today, because I did speak to her today, and I asked her why was I so far back. I had a lot of people come through, and even a young lady I just spoke to said, I didn't even know you were there because I was so far back. So I really never had an opportunity to be seen and to be able to provide a service to, get money. I told her, I said, well, I was towards the back of the building, and also I had a big trailer and a booth that was blocking me on the right side. I was being blocked on the left side. I eventually had to get my own tent to put it up farther enough so people can see me, so they can see what business that I have. Now, there's quite a bit that I'm very upset about. They said that they set it up the night before. There was a car that was in the hotel parking lot. She said she contacted them to have them move it because I was supposed to be up farther. She said, I'll take the blame for that, okay? But it still doesn't suffice for what I had to deal with. So then they put the motorcade next to me because they didn't have the spot for the person. Whatever they were supposed to be at, they put them on the other side of me. So I'm completely blocked, okay? They didn't try to accommodate me to say, well, let me put you in another area, somewhere a little closer where you can be seen. I mean, being a first-time vendor and would like to keep returning, but I didn't have a good experience whatsoever, none whatsoever. Now, I've lost a lot of money. Not just, it cost me $485 to be a vendor. And I didn't really recoup anything because I had a lot of people actually come by and say they did not see me. And I had to actually take my own tent to put forward so people can see me. And then I request extra electric. And they did not give that to me. She tried, Sona Lisa was saying that I should have paid for the electric, but looking at this application, if you don't mind, Mayor, if I read it, and it says vendors need electricity, must furnish their own cord. One 20-amp outlet will be provided. Provided means they will give to you. And any additional electrical need, please contact Mike. And on the application, it says you're out of town, it's $450. Do you need electricity? Yes. And then I checked off, electrical space, which is an extra $35. I sent an email to Mike and I said, did you receive my application? Should I get two 20 amp, generators, whatever they did. When I got there, they didn't have it. So I was not able to plug my freezer up, but I had a lot of food. The hotel was very nice to allow me to use theirs. I still didn't have enough, so I never received it. They're trying to say that I received it, and she wanted to give me half back, but no, I feel I should be refunded what I paid to be a vendor because I didn't receive anything, even though she accepts some of the blame of everything, but it doesn't do anything for me. They did not try to accommodate me whatsoever at all because, like I said, I was blocked on both sides. I had a lot, even my husband's coworker would ask him, why are you so back? And also Mike, when he came and got some food for me, he says, why are you guys so far back? I can't be seen.
Let me respond. Sonalita and Mr. Nabel actually brought this to my attention.
Okay.
That you had a concern about this
Yes.
today. And there's going to be a meeting of the people involved, and I believe is that tomorrow? You know when you're going to be doing it?
I have to check.
Well, I will encourage them to invite you so that you can be at that
Okay.
meeting and talk about it, and then they will take up the whole thing. But I just want to assure you that your communication with Sonalita left an impression on her that they brought it to my attention
Okay,
today, and
yeah.
Something's going to be done.
I really do appreciate it because like I said, I didn't even get a chance to even look at the show because I was so far back. I didn't, we had to walk up to even look down the street. So I didn't enjoy myself at all. And I would like to continue each year because this is what I do. But I'm not in a business to lose money because of,
Right.
I'm not situated correctly. And it could have been rectified if they would have said, hey, Angie, we didn't get a chance to, get you up. Would you like to be somewhere else? And that, I was never given that opportunity or anything, but thank you very much, Mayor.
Would you be sure that Mr. Nabel had, well, you've got.
I have a copy of the application.
Yeah, you do,
Contact
okay,
information.
okay.
Right.
But what, I just want to make sure that I was reading it right when it comes to additional. And she was stating to me that I should have paid $70, and I said, I don't understand that.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think you can talk with them
Yeah.
when they meet.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Next is Mr. Clyde McLemore.
Good evening, council members. Every time we have this banquet, Black Lives Matter, y'all say y'all didn't hear about it. Well, Black Lives Matter, third annual community award banquet will be held Sunday, November the 4th, from 6 to 9 at the Market Square Inn, 2723 Sheridan Road. Tickets are $45 and tables are $450. We have an opening speaker, which will be Mr. Gil Walker. Mr. Gil Walker is the founder of Midnight Basketball. That went cross-country. I think Mr. McKinley might know something about that. And main speaker will be John Crawford Jr., which his son was the one that was killed in Walmart in Ohio with buying a pellet gun, and he was shot dead. So I want to give out these flyers and let you know that we are having this event, you promised you would come this year.
Yeah, promise.
You did. See, there we go. We get ready to go there. You
It'll be
did.
on tape. It's on tape.
And another thing, I just want to say, Mr. McKinley, I'm looking for you. Look for you on there. McKinley, I said it right.
McKinney.
McKinley, okay. No, I'm sorry, I'm country, man. I'm from country. I'm from backwoods, okay? I'm gonna say this here. I came here to offer y'all to come. But we want to put signs in windows. I will start putting Black Lives Matters in windows. Our police are some great police, but all of them ain't. All of them ain't. And I'm not gonna sit here and allow that to be said here in this meeting. You know, we got some good police. Chief, best chief, don't never call me back all the time, but he's always a good guy, you know what I'm saying? I hate to see him go, because if you go, that means he up for retirement. I hate to see what follows. You know what I'm saying? We could make this community a little bit better. But we ain't gonna just say, well, they right or y'all wrong. You understand? We're not gonna say that. We just gonna say, we're gonna try to work together. But before we start putting up signs, I got 200 Black Lives Matter signs in the back seat of my car right now. And they free. Ain't $4.50. I give them to you free. But now if that's what we wanna start doing. I'm trying to do peaceful things around here. Thank y'all for letting me speak.
I'm somewhat taken aback. Did I hear you say that you're sorry to see the chief go, and that means you're sorry to see me go? You didn't say that, did you? You didn't say that.
I think he said if you go, I go.
Oh, Ray, you ain't been over there to see me yet. You've been out there today.
I guess I think it's well, what you said, Mr. McLemore, is kind of interesting. That I think it'd be wonderful if we had signs, Black Lives Matter, right next to, what does that one say?
Back the badge.
Back the badge, and they're right next to each other, and everybody respects everybody. I think that would be absolutely great. Okay, item number 6. I'm still flabbergasted that you hate to see me go. Item number 6 is the consent agenda. 6A is approval of, oh, excuse me, clerk, please read the consent agenda.
Approval of minutes of a regular meeting held June 5th, 2018 at 7 p.m. Bills, vouchers 129496 through 129604, drawn on Huntington National Bank. Total $527,054.64. The proclamation, Poverty Awareness Day, June 26, 2018.
Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Is there discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Commissioner McKinney?
Aye.
Commissioner Deteen?
Aye.
Commissioner McDowell?
Aye.
Mayor Hill?
Aye. Item number 7 is consider passing resolutions as follows. 7A is approving an amended mutual aid agreement with the Northern Illinois Police Alarm System per Chief Dumian.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. The City of Zion has been a member of Northern Illinois Police Alarm System, NIPUS, since 2003. Our participation in NIPUS provides essential mutual aid support to the city during times when a police emergency exceeds our capability. During the NIPUS annual membership meeting on May 10, 2018, the NIPUS Board of Officers provided a report recommending NIPUS agreement and the NIPUS bylaws be updated. The NIPUS agreement is the foundation document adopted by action of the corporate authorities of each membership agency. The NIPUS bylaws are adopted and modified from time to time by the NIPUS membership at its annual meeting. The changes that were made are minor and have no impact on our city. The NIPUS board has asked each participating member to seek approval from its corporate authority to update the NIPUS agreement by resolution, by means of resolution. Staff recommends approval of this NIPUS agreement and the resolution.
I'll make a motion that we approve this resolution updating the NIPUS agreement.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Is there discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Commissioner McKinney?
Aye.
Commissioner Deteen?
Aye.
Commissioner McDowell?
Aye.
Mayor Hill?
Aye. Item 8 is consider passing ordinances as follows. 8A is adopting prevailing wage rates to be paid to laborers, mechanics, and other workers performing construction of public works for Administrator Nabel.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. This is an annual ordinance that we have to adopt under the Illinois Prevailing Wage Act. It just sets the prevailing wage rates for construction work that's done in Lake County as adopted by the state for the area.
Is there a motion to approve the prevailing wage act?
I'll move to approve the Prevailing Wage Act.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Is there discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Commissioner McKinney?
Aye.
Commissioner Deteen?
Aye.
Commissioner McDowell?
Aye.
Mayor Hill.
Aye. Item number 8B is to enter into a land purchase agreement for certain property located in the city of Zion for property commonly known as NWC of Sheridan Road and 34th Street, northwest corner of Sheridan Road and 34th Street, per Administrator Nabel.
Thank you again. You have before your land purchase agreement for what we know as the Dunes property down on 33rd and the Tui lumber property. This is currently at $1, but it is contingent on entering into a developer agreement that includes but is not limited to site layout, construction commencement, and completion dates, as well as reversion of any unused property back to the city. This is for a speedway plaza similar to what was built in Beach Park. They have, I believe it's 240 days to do their due diligence for site layout, any utility easements, things that they needed to do just as far as their market analysis. So this gets the site into the queue for corporate to decide where they want to pursue opening locations within the area.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Is there discussion?
Are there any other businesses looking at that property right now?
We're still, I mean, we've been marketing out for a while with the retail strategies agreement, and this was the only current lead on that property.
I have a question on the, where it shows the lots that are involved?
Yes.
With the PIN numbers? And I guess it would be the northernmost pin closest to Sheridan Road, I believe it is. That would be 0428 404
006.
No, 010. What is
010
that?
is outside the boundary highway, just to the north.
Right, but 001 is inside, which I find strange. That they would buy the back lot is for sale, but the front lot is not.
I'm not showing 001 in my boundary.
001 is right behind 4010.
That's, 001 is excluded on,
It's on the list up above.
oh, I see what you're saying.
The PIN is included.
The list of PIN numbers, but not
Yeah.
the boundary that's drawn.
Right, but it's included in the PIN numbers as part of the sale.
We can
But
have
the-
them remove that from the listing. The boundary area is what they want.
Okay, but do we own 001?
No.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
we own the pins that are in the boundary that are drawn.
Okay, then, all right, then
Yes.
001 will be deleted.
Correct.
Okay. And I guess I just want to reiterate, page 5, the second to last paragraph. This is something that we had talked about in executive session last meeting. It says, prior to the expiration of the due diligence period or any applicable extensions thereto, buyer and seller shall enter into a mutually agreed upon development agreement that shall include but not be limited to site layout, construction, commencement and completion dates, and reversion of unused property to the seller if applicable. Buyer and seller acknowledge and agree that this agreement is contingent upon the Zion City Council authorizing and enacting an ordinance approving the developer agreement prior to the expiration of the due diligence period. And this is what we had talked about, that are we covered? If they do things that we don't want, and we will have, between now and when this becomes a binding agreement, an ability, or we will have the ability to decide and approve what we want to have approved. Okay, any further discussion? We have a motion and a second. Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Commissioner McKinney?
Aye.
Commissioner Deteen?
Aye.
Commissioner McDowell?
Aye.
Mayor Hill?
Aye. Item 8C is establishing and implementing a program to charge mitigation rates for the development of emergency and non-emergency services by the fire department for services provided and rendered for the city of Zion. For Chief Lewis.
Thank you, Your Honor, Commissioners. This is something we've been toying for since probably at least 2012. Cost recovery is quite a popular thing in the fire service now. With all the rules and regulations and mandates set by various agencies, increasing our training and equipment we need to carry and services, etc., trying to keep up with just budgets is kind of rough. So a lot of us are doing EMS billing. In fact, almost everybody does EMS billing. Fire recovery billing allows us to bill for services that are non-EMS. So in your packets, you had a list of many of the things we can bill for and how much we can bill for each. So what I'm basically looking for here is, at this point, to take a look at what I've presented and see if we want to consider moving forward with the attached ordinance and developing a cost recovery process. And if so, my next step will be to bring to you a service agreement at a later meeting. So what we do, this works pretty much like EMS. It's the vendor will collect all the funds on behalf of us. So they go to the insurance companies. The insurance companies set aside funds for fire recovery. They collect what they can collect from the insurance company based on what we did on the scene. They deduct their fee from it, and then we get the balance of the funds. And so you can see one of the estimates we had there, just based on our call volume from 27, it was estimated that we could collect upwards of $80,000 a year. They figure your first year you collect about half of that just once you get into the process. The biggest hiccup we encounter when we look at this, the municipalities that make the most money are typically home rule. Home rule will allow you to charge anybody. As a non-home rule community, we're only allowed to charge residents for specialty incidents such as structural collapse, trench rescue, dive rescue, those kind of things. But we can charge non-residents for anything on that list. So.
Thanks, Chief.
You're
I
welcome.
just want to add a few things to that, if that's all right.
Go ahead.
This is something that we've been talking about for quite some time. In fact, I've got a memo from Ansel Glink about this from 2012, so it's something we've been considering. But state statute limits the amount we can collect because we're not home rule. There is some legislation being considered changing the population limits for home rule, and that would enable us to collect more in this cost recovery. But I did ask Chief Lewis to investigate and find some language for an ordinance for us. I think it would be beneficial to the city to consider cost recovery, have an ordinance on the books, so we can start collecting where we're allowed to by statute, and then if statute changes, we can collect more.
Is there a motion?
I think this is just for information's sake right now, is that right?
Well, if you go forward with the ordinance, then I'll go forward with the vendor to get a service agreement drawn up, and we'll go from there.
We don't have an actual ordinance.
We have
I submitted in a packet, I put the draft ordinance. Attorney Randall was still looking to.
Oh, yeah, I don't think we're finalizing it. So you're talking about what is our opinion right now?
Yeah, I thought we would have an ordinance to look at, but this is a draft, and I think Attorney Randall needs to review it.
A little
and-
bit more. We
Yeah.
can put it over till the next meeting.
Okay, but I guess we might as well talk about it now.
Sure.
I've got a couple of questions, and my main question is, and I think you hit on it, this is, we would not be collecting anything from residents.
No,
This would only apply to non-residents.
Non-residents only.
correct.
Okay, so, and the categories that are include motor vehicle accidents, car fires, hazard
Hazmat.
materials responses, pipeline power line incidents, fire investigation, fires, water incidents, and specialized rescue. A water incident is what? I wasn't sure.
Like a dive.
Okay.
Rescue off the water.
All right, and if we, would this allow us, if we, I don't want to get into a mess, but if we assisted Waukegan on a fire and we sent our people there, would we be able to recover costs from fires outside of our jurisdiction?
You may be able to collect some of the manpower and equipment costs. I'd have to look into that, because if they're collecting and we're collecting from the same incident, I'm not sure how that would work.
Okay. So fires, and okay, if we put out a fire in Zion, we're not gonna collect from anybody in Zion. Anyway.
Unless it's a non-resident that owns the building, so a non-resident landlord.
Oh,
I mean, that's how I would interpret
right.
it.
And most of this is gonna be, most of these costs would be submitted to the insurance company?
Yeah, it's the only way it's done, is it's all through insurance company. It's never billed to the person,
Okay.
balance billed.
And what is their percentage? I don't think I saw that.
20%.
20%? If anybody else got any questions, go ahead. Well, I guess I'll speak up. I personally like the idea. I especially like the fact that we won't be billing residents with this, and it is an opportunity to increase revenue by $84,000 is what I think the estimate.
Well, you won't get 84,000 off of non-resident. That was billing residents. That
Oh.
was 100% billing.
Oh.
Yeah, we gotta make that clear. That was for 100% billing of everybody.
Okay,
If you're
what-
simply billing non-residents and specialty incidents, you're
Because
gonna cut
that's
that.
what we're allowed by state statute.
You're gonna
right
cut
now.
that way back.
Okay, well, then I guess I want to ask, what is the intention of this if, let's say, they change home rule to 5,000 like the legislation? What is our intention? Would
Then
we,
my intent would be to take it forward to bill everyone, just like we do EMS billing. The residents would never see a bill.
It would be insurance companies, the residents'
Right.
insurance companies. that
okay,
are-
this would have no impact on the
No.
residents whatsoever? Okay. And I want to just share with some of you, I don't know if I talked about this the last, whose phones keeps binging on me? Can you turn it down just a little bit? Thank you. The Director Nabel and I were looking at the revenue, did we talk about this the last time? The revenue that we are receiving from gaming in town, and the city's getting approximately $200,000 a year. And in order, and this is so, we'll just say this is, the 84 would be half if we would ever get to that. If you take $200,000 a year, and we're approximately 12% of the tax bill, so just to round numbers off, I'm gonna say 10%. And you take $200,000 a year, that means that that would be like $2 million a year. And then if you take $2 million a year based on a 19% tax rate, and I'm gonna round it up to 20%, so you multiply that times 5, that's $10 million in equalized assessed valuation. And that's the equalized assessed valuation. And so if you triple that, that's $30 million. So in order for the city to collect $200,000 on their tax bill, from taxes in the community, we have to have $30 million of development. And now, what I want to point out to people is the expansion of a hospital. When they went through this last expansion, the real estate value, the real value on that property was $35 million. Now, the whole project was $85 million or something like that, but $50 million of it was personal property. It was the equipment, the beds, everything inside the hospital. So in order for us to get $200,000, which is what we received from the gaming, we would have to have another expansion just like the hospital. And so if there's any way that down the line we can collect $84,000 from that would not impact the residents. So if that's half, that means that we'd have to have $15 million worth of real property values to equal that 84 or $100,000. So I'm all for it. And I am a huge supporter of finding other ways of getting money other than people's taxes. So that's my position.
That's why we're pursuing it.
Chief, right,
Yeah.
right. And anybody else? Okay. I'm hoping we will have an ordinance at our next meeting. Moving on, item number 9 is discussion authorization and approval. Item 9A is request approval for 2018-2019 project year hotel motel tax grant applications per Director Nabel.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. Annually, we budget funds from the Hotel Motel Tax Fund to help promote tourism and overnight stays at events in Zion. These funds are governed by state statute and are required to be utilized for these purposes only. We've received grant applications as you have attached and have scored each accordingly. Based on the results, I figure we go through, I believe we have to handle each one individually, but we can just go through with our recommendations for each of the events. The first one listed here is the Potawatomi Trails Powwow. They are requesting a grant of $6,500 for their event. This is an event they have every year, and we've had grants for that in the past. And staff would recommend approval of the grant not to exceed $6,500.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. I'm sorry, I was talking to our attorney when you were talking, so I missed it. Where are we here?
Potawatomi.
Potawatomi.
Do we forget
Fine cycles?
Well, I was, in my memo, it's in a different order than what's on the agenda, so I'm
okay.
going in the order on the agenda.
Okay, so it's
Okay.
Potawatomi's for $6,500. We have a motion and a second. Is there discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Commissioner McKinney?
Aye.
Commissioner Deteen?
Aye.
Commissioner McDowell?
Aye.
Mayor Hill?
Aye.
The next one listed on the agenda is the Zion Historical Society. This is for their Walk Through Time event. I believe this is the second year that it's going on. They're requesting a grant in the amount, or staff is recommending approval of a grant not to exceed $5,000, which was the amount that they requested.
Is there a motion? We have a motion?
Second.
And a second. Is there discussion? Clerk, please.
Just one question, David. On the memo, it says 4,500. And you just said 5,000.
For Zion Historical Society. I know I'm messing this up. going
Yeah,
on.
okay,
on
we're out of
review.
sequence here.
Okay, never mind, disregard.
We have a motion and a second. Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Commissioner McKinney?
Aye.
Commissioner Deteen?
Aye.
Commissioner McDowell?
Aye.
Mayor Hill?
Aye.
Now we'll go to the Zion Cyclery. This is for the Beulah Boogie Bicycle Race. They are requesting an amount of $4,500, and staff would recommend approval not to exceed $4,500 as requested.
So moved.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Is there discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Commissioner McKinney?
Aye.
Commissioner Deteen?
Aye.
Commissioner McDowell?
Aye.
Mayor Hill?
Aye.
Now, the last two, I'm going to approach a little differently because we had this issue last year as well. But there's a grant application from the Dungeon of Doom as well as the Edge of Escape rooms. The way the grant application is written, it's for an entity cannot receive more than $10,000 in a single year. And both of these, while different lines of business, are run by the same corporate entity. So following our grant guidelines and the way it was written, they submitted two applications, one for each event, for $10,000. My recommendation would be to approve $10,000 in total and allow them to utilize, based on what they feel the advertising is needed for their business, because I would support each one independently, allow them to utilize the marketing where they see fit for the events. But rather than $20,000 approval, a $10,000 for them to utilize for both under the terms of the grant.
So that their application was for $20,000.
Their application was 10,000 for
Okay.
Dungeon of Doom and 10,000 for Edge of Escape.
Would it be appropriate to, since we have two applications, to deny one and approve the other? Or do we, how would you like to handle that?
Well, I wanted to give them the flexibility because if we approve one and not the other, they're restricted, they're restricted to use it for those purposes, whereas they might cut back on some of the advertising for one of the events if, depending on where they need it. I don't want to make that as a business decision for them. Edge of Escape is a newer event, so it might need more promotion, but they're also, with the Dungeon of Doom, they put a significant amount of their own money into marketing, and this is part of their budget as well, so.
Should we ask them to reapply then, and with the balanced amounts?
We can.
I'd like to throw a couple of cents in here on this one myself, but I want to ask Mr. Nabel if Zion Cyclery came in, and this one, the 4,500 is for the Beulah Park Boogie, and if they came in and decided that they wanted to do a bicycle road race through town, and they wanted money to advertise for that, and let's say I'm just throwing hypotheticals out there. If they wanted $10,000 for the Beulah Park Boogie and they wanted $10,000 for the road race through Zion, would we say to them, no, we're not going to give you two?
Under the way the grant program was written, that's how we said it was single entity, not more than 10,000 a year, because we wanted to try and spread these funds as much as possible. So I would make the same recommendation for that as well, because they'd be getting $20,000 as a single entity.
So it's based on the requester, not the event.
Correct.
Correct. The way the grant was written when it was initially adopted was a single entity cannot receive more than $10,000 in any, because we didn't want somebody coming in necessarily and saying, I want $35,000 for everything, and then no other events to come to town.
Okay, but then I got to ask, and I'm just putting ourselves on the spot, we make a grant to, and we did this, this was our idea, but we're making a grant to the Chamber of Commerce for Nostalgia Days, and we're making a grant to the Chamber of Commerce for Jubilee Days, far in excess of $10,000.
Right, because that's city funds. The city has discretionary use of those funds versus giving to private entities. We took those funds, and rather than the city utilize them for city events, we decided to open it up and allow those for others, but we put a cap on it.
What's the pleasure of the council?
I agree with the recommendation, and I guess it's just the process. Should we ask them to reapply so that they make the determination what amount goes to Edge of Escape and what amount goes to Dungeons of Doom? Or do we just choose one of them and it's the same entity, they can decide how to use it?
Or give them each 5. Or give them
I
each
guess
5.
I would, if we're gonna do that, then I like what we've got here. We'll give them $10,000 and they can use it for whichever event that they want, as far as I'm concerned.
That would be, I would move that we give them the $10,000 and allow them to use it for either event as needed.
Have a motion
So moved.
and a second. Is there further discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Commissioner McKinney?
Aye.
Commissioner Deteen?
No.
Commissioner McDowell?
Aye.
Mayor Hill?
Aye. And I just want a couple of questions for Mr. Nabel.
Yes.
We have enough money in the budget to cover this?
We do. We have a fund balance that's carried over from year to year. We have about $170,000 beginning fund balance. We have not adopted a hotel motel tax fund budget yet.
Okay.
But this is within the $35,000 that we typically allocate to that.
Are we up to date on all of the payments from the hotels and for our money?
We are not. We have about $40,000 outstanding from a hotel in Market Square.
Okay, item 9B is discussion regarding health insurance options per Director Nabel.
Thank you again, Mayor. At a prior budget workshop, when we were looking at how to address our deficit, basically it came down to personnel and benefits as being, or salary and benefits being one of the only places to start looking at making up that deficit. And we talked about trying to figure out how to provide comparable insurance benefits to what we have, but structuring it in a different way. We used to be self-insured for health insurance. Blue Cross has changed that this year and required us to be fully insured. So at this time, what we decided to do was see if we could get a quote from Blue Cross Blue Shield for basically a high deductible plan to reduce our monthly premiums that we have to pay, but then implement what's called a health reimbursement account, HRA, where the city would pay, if an employee hit a certain level, in this case, $1,500 for individual and $3,000 for family.
Where are you looking at this chart?
I'm sorry, I know it's real small there in the print, but the middle, there's 6 columns. The middle 2 columns, there's a PPO, the 4th column,
Right.
that says, I mean, we would structure the HRA separate of this quote. This is just a quote for the 6,000 and 12,000 deductibles, which is what we asked them to quote on, and then we would do an HRA separate from this, where we would reimburse, or we would pay for everything above $1,500 and $3,000 from the employees. Under that model, there's a $648,000 annual savings.
Where is that? Where am I?
That's
seeing it?
second item from the bottom in the middle. There's a minus 26.43%, and right above that is a $648,870.
Okay.
That's the annual savings in premiums. And then what they did is, under that, they calculated what our exposure would be, basically on the, once an employee hits $1,500, we could potentially have to cover everything up to $6,000
Right.
before they hit the deductible. Typically, most employees don't hit that deductible or hit that threshold. They calculated about 34% on average. Our maximum exposure, if every employee maxed out the deductible, would be $748,000. So it actually, we'd save $648,000 on the premiums, but we'd spend $748,000 under the health reimbursement account. But again, that has never happened, doesn't happen. The 34%, our exposure is about $250,000. So you'd be looking on average, $648,000 in savings and premiums, $250,000 that we would spend in the HRA. So we would net save about $400,000 a year under this model. The out-of-pocket to employees is going up, but since most employees pay a percentage, their contribution is a percentage of premiums. Because the premiums are going down, they're actually paying less from their paychecks monthly, the same percentage, but it's less premium, which would be about $1,000 a year for, let's say, a family, which would help offset that, also that increase in the going from $2,000 to $3,000 out of pocket. So this is something that we'd have to negotiate with the unions. There's terms laid out in union contracts, but we discussed it just to get a quote from the insurance provider to see if it'd be worth pursuing. We wanted to see what the numbers came back at, if it was $50,000 savings, or our exposure was too high, we might not pursue it. But with a potential $400,000 annual savings, I think it's something we have to move forward and present to the unions. Blue Cross did say that they would be open to, they would maintain these quotes and allow open enrollment at any time up to May 1st of 19, which is when our next enrollment period would be anyway. So if we have to negotiate with the unions, my goal would be maybe a September 1st or an October 1st open enrollment if we can get this all agreed to.
Okay, and what about the column, the last column on the right is what?
The last column actually has co-pays and office visits. Under the fourth column, there is co-pays on office visits. Basically, you pay everything until you hit the deductible. Under the last column, there is co-pays with the rest going toward, that do go towards deductible. I don't think that there's a $420,000 savings on that one. Our exposure on that plan is about 15% on average. I mean, our maximum exposure is like 700,000 again, but using how these plans work for HRAs, our exposure would be on average about 113,000, so we would save about 300,000 a year doing a plan like that.
And what about the HMOs?
The HMOs are not, if you look at the middle columns, it's not a significant difference. Employee is 735 versus 761 for the PPO, 1,300 versus 1,345 for employee plus one, 1,900 versus 1,960 for family. It is a slightly more, there's slightly more savings there, but not significantly to my opinion, justify switching to an HMO versus the PPO network.
David, could you repeat what our probable exposure would be for an HRA with the middle column there?
With the middle column, our probable exposure would be about 250,000. Our maximum exposure is about 750,000.
Thanks.
And I just wanted to.
Is there a administrative fee on this?
There would be an administrative fee. We're talking not tens of thousands, we're talking like single digit thousands for a third party administrator to manage those claims, because it would essentially take a full-time person to manage that if we try to do it in-house. But we can get a quote on that if we decided to pursue this as well and enter it. Once we work with the unions, we get everything together for council approval.
Have you had any discussions with employees about this? And if you have, what's been the reaction?
I have not yet. We talked with department heads a little bit about it at one of our department head meetings. It's a lot of information. Insurance is complicated, but I think the general consensus is, they understand the situation we're in budgetarily, and we're trying to have the end use be essentially the same for the employees.
Mayor, are you going to ask for another budget workshop?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm just wondering if at the next budget workshop, in addition to our presence, if we could invite any city employee that wants to attend and talk about this insurance possibility, and maybe even get some ideas from our employees on our budget situation.
Because we're still, even if we save $400,000 here, where are we on?
We're still about, I want to say 370,000 deficit.
Yeah.
And that's with no raises.
And we're spending money right now,
Correct.
and that's with no raises.
Yeah.
Because this would be an annual savings, and we're into June now.
Do you want to schedule a workshop right now? I guess in order to give Mr. Nabel direction, I think we have to look at the $400,000.
Yeah.
I don't think we have any choice.
I don't think we do either. And I mean, anybody is welcome to come to a budget workshop, but I think we could extend an invitation
Right, I
to
think
our
that's a really
our
good
employees
idea.
to come.
Can we get some dates?
Like next week?
I'm gonna be gone until Wednesday. And then, how about Thursday?
The 28th?
Yes. Does that work for everybody?
Works for me.
I just need enough advance notice to see if I can, well, it depends on what time we want to do this, what time.
We could do it in the evening. If that works better for you. Does that work for everyone else? think that's probably best, that all of our employees are gonna be working during the day, hopefully. So why don't we do it the 28th? At, what time why don't we do 6 o'clock? Does that work for
I
you?
can make it work.
Okay, the 28th at 6 o'clock, we'll have a workshop, we'll talk about insurance, and we still have to cut $350,000 additional. If anybody has any ideas, it may mean, I think in the back of our minds, we need to think about furloughs, layoffs. I don't know what else. Okay. Mr. Nabel, you weren't looking for any action, were you?
No, I just wanted to update you on, based on the decisions from the last budget meeting.
Item number 10 is departmental commentary. Department heads have anything? I've just got a comment that I'd like to make. I am disheartened by the abundance of shootings that we have in our community. It seems like something's happening every week, and Commissioner McKinney sent me some articles, or an article, talked about what some other communities are doing. I don't know that their solutions would apply to Zion. Some of what they've recommended they're from larger cities, and they talk about rather than if anybody is arrested on a gun charge, that it be filed in federal court rather than state court. And I've talked to Chief Dumian about it, and he doesn't think that that's appropriate for what our community is looking at. But I guess I think we need to do something, and I think we need to sit down with the police department, and commissioner, and myself, and anybody that else is interested, and come up with, I don't know what, but I am troubled by the amount of shootings that we have, and we're not, and I'm not putting the blame there, but we're not getting any cooperation, even from the victims of the shootings. We won't identify who shot them, and they know who shot them. So I think we need to come up with some ideas that would address the situation. I'm going to ask everybody to perhaps think of how we might approach this and what we might do. I don't have an answer for even how to start the discussion about it, but I think we need to have a discussion about it. And because our police department cannot do it by themselves, because a shooting occurs and then they get called and then they show up, and if there are no witnesses that are willing to step forward, there's very little that they can do. I mean, no, there's a lot that they can do, and they do a lot. I don't mean it that way, but it would be, I think we just need to have a discussion about it, and I think perhaps sometime in July would be a good time to do it. I don't want to set a date now or come up with an idea on how it would be formatted, but I'm troubled, and I'm just expressing my opinion that we need to, as a community, get together and do something, so.
Will you attend?
Yes.
Will you attend as the mayor?
No, 11 is announcements. June 23rd from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Trash to Treasure lawn sale at Shiloh Boulevard and Elisha Avenue to benefit the Zion Historical Society. June 23rd, 9 a.m. City of Zion bike auction, 28th and Sheridan, Old Fire Station. July 3rd, 7 p.m. Zion City Council meeting. July 4th, city office is closed for the holiday. There is a need for a closed session pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/2, open meetings for the discussion of pending litigation.
Excuse me, Mayor Hill. I'd just like to announce again, I know it's on Facebook, on June 30th, we're having the first cleanup day for precincts 409 and 413. And we're going to have a series of 4 cleanup days in different neighborhoods. And one of the 5th one will be electronic cycling, recycling, and tire removal from the community. So we're trying to make the effort. Mr. McLemore, you talked about the issue over on 21st and Herman, and Herman or Hebron. And as I told you last week, we're looking at that. I understand there's some mattresses out there today, and to explain again, Advanced Disposal will take mattresses. However, they have to be wrapped in plastic for health reasons for the workers. So this will be the first of 4 cleanup days within the different precincts, 409, 413, which covers from Lewis Avenue to Sheridan Road, east and west, 25th, Salem Boulevard, and 33rd Street. We are looking for volunteers. You can go online for the Zion Cleanup Day, facebook.com/Zion Cleanup Days. We're trying to do what we can to make our community appealing to the residents and for those who visit.
Mr. McKibben, if there's any flyers out, we would like to go door to door and get the residents to come out. I mean, the word is not getting out. Everybody's not on Facebook.
Yes, next.
The ones that need to be out.
We do have, and that's a good question. That's a good question. We have precinct captains, which their job is to get the flyers out for those that aren't on internet, that don't have Facebook, that aren't on Facebook or Nextdoor. For example, in my neighborhood, I'm going door to door in the different blocks with people I know. The flyers look something like this, and if we can get some out to you, I can make sure that we can get some out with the different cleanup days. There's 4 of them. They're all listed on Facebook, but we'll make sure citizens have those.
We did something like that, and we had to clean up in North Chicago. So what we did, we went to the local churches, and we got over 300 volunteers.
Okay, that was part of our strategy as well, to talk with some of the churches in the community. I've talked with several of the churches in my precinct that are interested in helping as well. We understand that the churches are a big part of our community, so thanks for your comment.
And Mr. McElroy, I would answer your question. Yeah, I will show up, but I'm very, very careful about where I show up for community things, because a number of times I've been jumped. I'm just telling you, I am very careful about what the format is going to be. And the format that I'm talking about is a city council type of forum where everybody can speak and everybody will speak to each other respectfully. And yes, I will be here.
Okay, you know, but.
That's all I'm saying.
You can ask your police chief. He's been a couple of forums.
Is there a motion to adjourn? Oh, no.
I'll make a motion to go to closed session.
Second.
We have a motion, and a second. Is there a discussion? Secretary, clerk, call for roll.
Commissioner Fisher.
Aye.
Commissioner Dean. Commissioner McDowell. Mayor Dunlap.
Aye.
Yeah.
And actually, it was a little clean. Yeah. It was a little clean. I thought you was gonna get in touch with me, and we go do